So our next hands-on building design workshop, tiny houses and Treehouse, is going to be outside Wilmington, North Carolina, December 2nd, 3rd, 4th. RelaxShacks.com for the details. Hey, what's up? I'm Deek from RelaxShacks.com, on the road again with Andrew from TreetopHideaways.com. We're here in Flintstone, Georgia. Did I just say that?
Yeah,
twice. You have to say it twice because I want you people to know where it is. Thanks for having us, man. It's early. I just had my coffee. It really hasn't seeped into my brain yet. But we spent the night here last night. This place is kick butt. And you are the builder, designer of this edifice behind us. So I want you to give us a tour for the fine folks out there.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
For starters, talk about the tiered entrance here, the stairs, and especially the reclaimed lumber.
Absolutely. So about 97% of the lumber that we use is all reclaimed. Some of it is kind of freshly hewn, but all of it will be from wind-blown trees and things of that nature. The steps that you see, as well as the main beams under the treehouse, are from about a 1960s schoolhouse.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they're coming just north of us here from Marion County. You know, cut up some of them a little bit, got them in here. It's really just flows with the whole rest of the treehouse.
These are some big treads too. I mean,
they are. Yeah, 3.5 by about 12 inches. So they're not going anywhere. And then we've timber locked in through the edges to make sure that those are nice and wedged in.
How many boxes of timber locks did you buy in this whole project?
Timber locks are a wonderful piece of equipment.
Oh, they are. They're awesome.
They lock things together so tight. You can usually go up about double the size in a lag bolt to understand kind of the strength that you get out of a timber lock.
Okay.
So I mean, we probably use 6 or 7 boxes of timber locks.
Yeah, and they drive pretty easily if you have a.
Well, that's the thing. They're all self-tapping.
An impact. Yeah. Cool. Now I noticed as we climb up here. Well, I also want to say the view. Amazing. Talk about the height.
Sure. So the boulder that you come in on is just about 8 feet off the ground. That brings you up 8 feet. But then the hill starts to drop away at that point. So to where the back of the treehouse, where your feet are, is about 17 feet off the ground.
17. Okay.
Yep. From where your cars are parked down there to where we are right now is about a 45-foot difference. And then the valley and the base is a 60-foot difference.
Well, okay. So now this gangplank we're crossing here, it's hinged to, I imagine, allow for movement, swaying of the trees.
Yeah. You know, one of the big things that we really want to do with our tree houses is we want to keep them tree houses. We don't want to, you know, we don't want to have a house in a tree, which so many high-end builders have gone to these days. So we want to employ some fun things like a drawbridge eventually.
Yeah.
You know,
oh, it's actually going to.
It's actually going to come up. We're going to put a counterweight mechanism on it with a turn inside, so you can actually draw the thing up. You know, I mean, whether you want to play a zombie apocalypse or whatever, draw it up at night, have some fun. So, you know, a trap door in the back deck, some things like that really are just going to bring it back to its treehouse.
Well, this place is fairly impenetrable because last night we actually locked ourselves out. We had to call Andrew up, and we were trying to think of ways to scale one of the posts to get in there, and it was just like, it's almost impossible. So yeah, I think you would be quite safe from zombies.
We think so. Zombies, whatever you want. The raccoons are about the biggest thing.
I like how you're almost hugging this tree in here with the structure of the bathroom in here, which we'll see shortly.
That was a modification as we were building. It's like, oh, okay, that tree. When you're dealing with a sloped environment in the beginning, it's really hard to tell what directly up and down is. So as you're building the tree, you say, oh wow, that tree slopes more than we anticipated. And
you have a wall that might hit it. You know,
so we had to bring it back so the wind wouldn't bring the tree into it.
I've dealt with that before. I'm like, oh, in hindsight, my God, let's get creative with the trim here.
Yep, got to shorten it all up.
Okay, so space-wise, how big is this overall? Give us some specs.
Yeah, we've got 250 interior square feet. That's about 90 feet in the loft above us. Then approximately 150 below, and that's counting the bathroom. Okay. Bathrooms, you know, maybe 25, 30 square feet. Yeah. Just big enough for the composting toilet and then the small shower. Then about a 90 square foot deck on the back. Oh, okay. So it really helps kind of open up the space.
And we were saying, from this point, there's a 6x6 in here.
Yep.
17 feet, was it?
17 feet up to the peak. And then, you know, of course, you've got your 8 inches of the structurally insulated panel on top that reaches up there. So it's about 18 feet overall. And
the floors are SIPs too, you're mentioning.
Yeah, the floor and the ceiling, both SIPs.
What was it like working with SIPs? You know, to a lot of people, SIPs are a very new thing, especially in the tiny house world, especially the treehouse world.
Yeah.
Aside from using them in construction, you have the added challenge of getting them up a hill. 45-something feet through rugged terrain. What was that like?
So that part was really tough. Now, you know, it's interesting because we followed a lot of really good thinking these days, which is modular building. So you've got, you're building on the ground, you bring it up, you put it in the tree. So you're not building everything in the tree.
You have to,
Exactly. Yeah, and so as we thought, okay, that's going to be a really good thing, a sit panel. The floor and the ceiling both came in 2 pieces each.
Oh, 2 pieces. I was going to ask that.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
So you're about 250, 300 pounds with each panel.
Mm-hmm.
So it took about 7 people to get them up here, and then we used a winch tied further up in the tree to lift them up, drop them in, and then you got to press them together. So we used some ratchet straps on each side and just slowly torqued them together. The floor wasn't too bad, though we had to drop it into the frame that we had on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
But then the ceiling obviously is pretty high up there. We didn't have all the structure on it to keep it quite as tight. So that was a pretty tricky one.
Yeah, well, that was one of my questions. Okay, there were 2 pieces here too.
Yeah.
And it's not so much carrying 250, 300 pounds up the hill. It's maneuvering it through trees, over boulders, and they're cumbersome.
Straight up the hill right here is where we had to come.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't move it anywhere else.
What was the worst part of the most strenuous part of building this?
I mean, going up and down the hill was really tough.
Yeah.
Probably the hardest thing to get on might have been those original beams. So it took 7 of us to get each beam up.
Yeah.
And then just getting it up and lifting it and kind of getting it set in place. Those are pretty tough.
Kind of just pointing out things here.
Sure.
You have it's more or less a fully functional house. I guess with the only exception of like an oven or something like that.
Exactly.
But that could be done so
we
easily.
got our microwave, right?
Yeah, that's true. So you even have a fridge in here. You got the sink.
Yep. We can open that up. With the sink in there, I mean, all of this, actually this whole kind of little unit was made by a local potter. John Michael Foreman threw us the sink.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, guy in my wedding, that came and actually built the whole vanity for us as well. So.
I mean, you guys have thought of everything too. You got music, you got a picnic basket, a thermos, stuff on the go.
It's all the kind of
extra
outdoors
blankets,
playful.
folding chairs. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's all the little touches that I was talking to my brother earlier, who's manning the camera, by the way, that make a difference. There's even fresh flowers in here with water. I'm like,
absolutely.
A lot of people don't think of that stuff.
That's Hannah, my partner's wife, has done a lot of the interior design.
Yeah.
So having her hand in all of that, kind of thinking through those things.
A woman's touch. I like this too. That's just fun. Yeah.
So that's their. They both ran cross country in college, and that was kind of one of their things they got to commemorate that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little gazelle.
All right, Andrew. What about the bathroom?
Yeah. So we've got just a couple pieces in here. From the shower, we've got all copper running through here. That's in the sink as well. Low flow shower head to really help that 25-gallon water heater up top get the most out of what it's giving you. We've got local soap is another one of our local things. That all goes into our Chattanooga whiskey barrel. I remember smelling the bourbon as we were cutting it. Kind of putting the copper down in there to really seal it up well. It's hard with the wood because it doesn't naturally keep moist.
In place, or how do you work on
that? So we used a EcoBond adhesive.
Okay.
And that all kind of fits within the realm of what we're doing for the Living Building Challenge.
Yeah.
And it pulled it nicely, and then as people stepped on it, it's pounded it right into place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got
Let the
penny
guests
floor
do
also.
the work.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it worked out really well. The floor down there has got coins from all of the people that helped us out. A lot of our Kickstarter followers, a lot of our Facebook friends sent us the foreign coins that are there in the threshold and kind of scattered throughout. Then some of the pennies as well that we got in over here.
Like some Singapore or some Icelandic Kronos, or there's a couple.
Yeah, lots of South America, Central America as well.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. That was a fun part of the story. The only other piece is really
the Chuck E. Cheese token. That would have been great. I'd sneak in a Subway token, Chuck E. Cheese.
I just stuck it in there.
Yeah.
So that's a part of a lot of our history, right?
That's right.
It's a basic composting toilet, full unit right here. A lot of your larger ones have something that drops down and rotates. Yeah. But for the sake of the treehouse, we obviously couldn't do that. So everything's inside here. You've got the rotating drum in the bottom. Pretty basic setup. The vent that we did put an electric fan on obviously takes a little bit of power, but it really helps take the smell out of the room. Okay. So that's something that's nice about it.
Before we check at the loft, I just want to add the approach to this. You have this fantastic door with this beat rustic patina on it. What's the history of this? Where'd this come from? Do you know?
Antique store on the backside of the mountain.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was an old local house.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of that craftsman style architecture that you have in the area has left some really cool doors, really cool windows that we've been able to grab from those stores.
You can't recreate that look. Not that I'm going to pick any in, but I mean, it's just
exactly.
It's so vintage. I mean, you see people now with the shabby chic look and all those things trying to beat wood with chains, drag it in the road, and paint and sand it, but you can't recreate something like that.
That's at least 3 layers of paint on there.
At least, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was just having that splash of color too.
Is
something that we respect about your work, and something that we really love about what we want to do with the treehouse.
Well, you add a little pop here and there, and you guys have done it with the pillows. Speaking of which, I want to show people the loft. If you want to take them up there.
Actually, well, before we go up there, I want to point out some of the lights that we have, just to kind of give it this whimsical look. You've got the string lights up above us, then some of the hanging lights around the corner there, just enough to give you a good ambient light in the evening.
At night, and we'll show you a shot right now, at night it's incredible. I went down there to get some stuff from my car. I'm looking up, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get my camera, this is amazing. All right, I wanna show people the loft. One of the reasons this place feels quite a bit bigger, we point out 17 feet to that corner.
Yeah.
There's none of that claustrophobic golem-like cave feel that you get in some other tree houses, so that's really worked to your advantage. But the loft up here adds, what, 90 square feet of space?
Yep, another 90 square feet. Fits that queen bed up top.
And that was a Tough than Needle mattress, right?
It is, yeah.
I slept there last night. It is really, really comfortable. So Tough than Needle, if you want to sponsor us. No, it's no. It really, I was impressed because I've never stayed in one of those mattresses. In Janet and Guillaume from Tiny House Giant Journey, in the tiny house scene, they talk about that company quite a bit. So
they do a great job, and they're willing to buy into the projects, which is great.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
let's check this out.
It's going up. So all the wood in the loft and the stairs coming up is originally from the loft of the barn that we took out, but which is kind of a fun story, you know, to take all of it and give it a new story and kind of use it in the exact same way, but in a place where people are going to get to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a queen size bed fits up here pretty well.
Yeah, it is. It's
plenty
nice.
of room to move around.
I love that globe light, by the way. It's so cool.
It's what we want to be. What we want people to experience. Kind of that traveling, that uniqueness.
Yep.
Same with the pinnacle of ceiling. I mean, the fact that you're in the trees and you've got a huge canopy over you.
Yeah.
We didn't want to lose that.
Yeah.
So that's why we wanted that big corner and enough headroom.
This is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, all of this, again, from the barns that we take down. We just grabbed the tin from the top as well.
So you guys physically found barns, and you didn't buy this off some boutique salvage place. You dismantled the barns and used the wood. That's impressive, because that's not easy either.
A friend of my partner's that had a barn who said we could use it. That's where a lot of these rustic beams came from. Right. Then a guy in North Georgia who was tearing down a barn. We took all this white wood from it and then gave it a whitewash with just a milk paint. Let that kind of naturally dilute as we added some more water, and that's where you're getting kind of the different patinas and different shades of wood.
I want to add again that Andrew walked all these materials up quite a hill.
Andrew and our volunteers.
Yeah, I know,
add
but
them
still, yeah.
Those guys made it happen for us on Kickstarter and in the build as well.
Yeah, so it was really a community project, but it took 8 months to build. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yep.
One thing I'm going to point out: the diagonal application of the interior siding. Not only does it look cool, but it lends a lot of diagonal strength to the structure, rigidity, and that's a technique you see in old barns. So a lot of people don't do that, but it works really well. It looks cool.
Enoch's idea in the beginning to do that, just for the looks, kind of the chevron pattern.
Yeah.
And as we started talking through with our contractors that we were interfacing with, they said, actually, and for that matter, our engineer, Charlie, said if you're going to use an internal paneling, which is how this was built, it was built starting from the inside and then moving out with our layers of insulation.
Yeah.
He said, it needs to be diagonal if you're going to use those 1x8 boards. So that was actually a real point of structural integrity.
Yeah, and they're true 1x8s too?
Yeah, they are. Yep.
And even these are like, the old...
yep, those are true
2x8s or 10s. Yeah, they are 10s actually, maybe, so... Yeah. All right, the windows, I have to ask, to me, this is the highlight of the whole treehouse, especially if you're down at the bottom before you load up and make the trek up the hill. You see these windows at night are so beautifully illuminated, but right now you get the reverse, all this natural sunlight coming in. Where did you get these windows?
We got the windows from just downtown. Right down on Main Street, there's an old building, the old OCI Smart Furniture building, for anybody who's familiar with the city. Notice that the windows were getting redone. Had some nice aluminum windows going in, really creating the space to be more functional for its tenants. And so as we talked to the gentleman who owns that, Kenan was a little bit resistant at first. He uses all the windows himself. He reuses them, puts them over lights, puts in some cool colored panels.
Okay.
But as we kept talking and figured out that we could have some mutual agreement, we demoed a lot of the windows for him, and then he gave us a couple in return to use in the treehouse. We talked about how everybody loves tree houses. Probably the best quote that we found is that you either had a tree house growing up and you loved it, or you didn't and you want one.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, kids and adults alike, I say, have you ever met an adult or a kid who hears about tree houses like, bah, they stink? Everyone loves tree houses.
Yeah. We think it's pretty universal.
That's why we trek from Boston, Massachusetts to be here, Andrew. Case in point.
What I'm saying. Yeah. The big door there, it's on about a 600-pound test weight slider.
Oh, okay.
It's a couple 100-pound door, so it works pretty well.
It slides nicely, yeah.
Yeah, it just the seal a little bit, and that's the tricky part of using such a custom-made door.
Yeah.
Is get something that seals up well.
Yeah, well, you have the air gap strips here and all that, and you really just took a giant window and retrofitted it and crafted it into a really unique door.
It turned out well. I was pleased with it.
And the deck here?
Yeah, about 90 square feet. Same original decking boards from that barn. We covered it in a Vermont Natural, which is essentially an eco-safe kind of poly.
Yeah.
So we'll need to do it maybe a little bit more than a poly, but it as you can tell, it takes care of the deck well. We did that on all of the exterior wood out here.
Well, it looks great. I mean, because it's that vintage salvage wood. It almost has a forklift pallet look to it, texture, and I love that. And
yeah, our stools here are awesome.
There's my segue.
Zachary at Woodwise has made these for it. It's all reclaimed pallet wood. They've got the great bottle opener on it. I mean, it's so smooth. You know, you're not going to know you're sitting on something that's been used all around. And structurally super stable, which is the hard thing with pallet wood.
Yeah.
But he's engineered it in a way that it really pulls it all together. We've only had compliments on those.
Oh yeah, I saw those. We were sitting on them last night, enjoying a few cold ones, looking out into the distance. Yeah. And I got to get one of these for myself. These are really nice. I like the railing. You have the bar style railing here too. Yeah,
we wanted you to be able to enjoy it. Yeah. Again, kind of everything's functional. We said if we were up here and we wanted to sit out here, what would we want to sit out here and enjoy it? Well, Enoch again came up with the great idea of having just a bar top out here. Some of the nice sawn lumber. With just that Vermont natural on it makes a great deck to sit out here.
You got the hog panel screening here.
Yeah, that's the best way we figured out how to do it. You know, we went up to 42 inches on the deck height, which is industrial standard, because we really wanted to make sure we had safety. And there's a lot of tree houses that won't allow kids because of the liability. And you know, though we understand that as a company, we said, you know, how can we not?
Well, it's unfortunate they omit kids because, you know, you want these kids to have the experience of staying in something like this.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I see this done quite a bit, and it works so well. It's so strong, and it's pretty affordable too.
Yeah, I mean, all of your building standards say you can't spread more than 4 inches.
Yeah.
So anything from your cable fencing to things like that, this hog panel doesn't spread anywhere, and it's 3 inches on square. So it was the perfect thing. Really an easy put up too for him to reach around the outside and get things done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, kind of wrapping things up, your future plans, it's Treetop Hideaways,
Treetop Hideaways.
So there's going to be more than this one down the road, or so the plan goes.
Yeah.
And your land here is beautiful, by the way. The cascading stream, I know you said you had plans to dig out almost a little swimming area.
Yeah,
perhaps. But talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we've got about 2 acres here right now, and we plan on expanding that up the mountain a little bit.
Okay.
Worked with Rock City to lease some of their land as well. They've been really, really great in helping us do that.
And Rock City, a major attraction, which is just beautiful. It's like it's literally right up there.
You can see their lights up through the mountains in the summer, or in the winter when the leaves are out. Yeah. Okay. So we love the property. It's got all the big boulders, all the big trees. It's an old growth forest.
Yeah.
So you've got the big oak in the background there that's easily 3 feet in diameter. Big beech tree back there.
Tree,
that's several feet in diameter. Just some great trees and great natural assets that we have to kind of get people outdoors while allowing them to stay comfortable and be able to rest.
See, I build tree houses in New England where it's been forested and harvested many times over. So you're not finding these old growth, larger trees. So I'm building these smaller ones, which is not easy to do.
Yeah.
So I walked up here and I'm like, man, this guy's got it made. Look at this property. So again, it's treetophideaways.com. Andrew, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
And for letting us stay here too. This place is unreal. And we look forward to seeing what you guys have in store down the road.
Awesome. Thank you, Deek.
Again, I'm Deek from RelaxShacks.com. See you.